From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
how the SBA can help you and your small business get started, the Employee Retention Credit, and how to prevent scammers from getting their hands on it. And in the growing pet daycare industry, it's a dog's life.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Let's go ahead and get started. With the help of the Small Business Administration, the U.S. government spends billions of dollars each year in contracts with small businesses that provide goods and services in government projects. If you want a piece of that pie, you have to meet some requirements. That's where the SBA comes in.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
I'm Sharon Harvey with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'm the lead outreach and marketing specialist. So I serve all 92 counties in the state of Indiana. Although the district office is in Indianapolis, we actually service all 92 counties, whether that is in person or whether that's virtually. For those of you that don't know or may not be familiar with the U.S. Small Business Administration or the SBA, we are a federal agency that was designed that was started in 1953 to help businesses to start, to grow, and to expand, and to recover. The SBA, we are a free service. Most of our services are free. We do have some resource partners that we actually fund that do charge for some things that may be if they were bringing in a speaker or if they're doing a QuickBooks class. But most of the services that are provided by the U.S. Small Business Administration are free. We actually help you we want to make sure that when you go down the road to say, I'm going to start my business, that we make sure that you start correctly. And correctly means you've got a business plan. I mean, there's nothing worse to see a business or to talk to a business owner and to figure out they failed because they've been all over the place. Your business plan serves as your map. It serves as your roadmap to business. It tells you, I'm starting my business. In 2 years, I want to be here. In 3 years, I want to do this. Whether it's a hobby that you're now converting into a business, whether that's a brick and mortar, whether that's e-commerce, we're here to help you. We want to make sure that you're successful in your journey to small business ownership. We have workshops. We have seminars to help you do these things. And if you have a suggestion that you would like for us to do a workshop or bring some of our partners along with us, we'll be glad to do that. You can simply, as I said, go onto our website, give us a call, send us an email. You can do both through the website, and we are here to assist you in growing and starting your small business. After you've started your business, one of the next natural steps is to actually look at government contracting, whether that's city, state, or federal. That's a great way to add to the mix to growing your small business. But there are a lot of steps that you should actually make sure you're ready before you enter into government contracting, because what good is a certification, which we will talk about next week? What good is that certification if you haven't done the steps that you need? So, of course, as you start your small business and you're looking to grow, we want to make sure you have a valid business plan. One of the things that you need is a capability statement. People say, well, what's a capability statement? A capability statement is basically your resume for your business. We want to know who you've done business with, what are your NAICS codes. Of course, that's a governmental phrase, but your NAICS code is basically the industry that you're in, which classifies if you are a small business, meaning do you have under 500 employees, and what is the revenue code for your industry that you're in. So it's basically different for each individual industry. So understanding that you have a business plan, your NAICS code, you know who's buying what it is that you're even whether you're selling or your services. We can actually help you figure out what agency is buying what it is that you need or that you're selling. So when we're looking at government contracting, we want to make sure that you have the capability and the capacity to make sure that you can keep up and that you can honor the award that you've won. When we're looking at contracting as an alternative or the next step for government contract for businesses, we look at city, state, federal, making sure that you can meet those needs. When you're registering with the city and the state, the requirements are a little different from the federal, because a lot of times people come and they say, I'm registered with my MBE or my WBE. Well, really on the federal side, that doesn't mean anything. So, making sure you understand your lingo. In Indiana, we have what we call our Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or short term is PTAC. They're getting ready to change their name soon to Apex. So you'll see it as PTAC or Apex. But what they can actually do is for free. They can actually help you build that capability statement. Make sure you have the right information in it. They can actually do a bid match service, so they can actually look and see if you actually qualify for a lot of business, for a lot of contracts. So making sure that you are ready to do business. One of the other key factors is making sure that you have the employees that can actually deliver on the actual contract. One of the things right now that we're really doing a lot of work with our small businesses is getting them to partner, getting them to team, because on some of the awards, it may be that when we're looking at all the roads in Indiana that need to be fixed, it may be that the award requires maybe 3 trucks or 5 trucks, and you have one and someone else has 2 or 3, then you can team together so that you can actually win the contract. But these are all the things that you need to do beforehand. You want to identify who are some of the partners that you can partner with, making sure that your taxes are paid or up to date, because we're going to ask you those. Making sure that 51% of the ownership is by whom it says it is, and that you're actually the person that's conducting the work, because we need to make sure that the person that is running the business is the person that is actually in charge of day-to-day operations. So those are a lot of the things that we want to make sure that after you've started your business, you've been in business for a couple years, and you're like, I'm ready to rock and roll, and I'm ready to go on to what is the next phase of business. Let's try government contracting. We want to make sure that your financials are strong. We want to make sure that you're ready and you're able to sustain these contracts that you're going to be awarded. And we want to make sure that you have the ability to continue to get work, whether that is city, state, or federal.
We're always here to help you mind your dollars on business equity and opportunities. Our weekly accounting and bookkeeping segment this week. Important insight from Thomas Bayer, a CPA and certified exit planner for Sikich LLP. He has a warning about aggressive third-party providers.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
So my name's Tom Bayer. I'm a partner with Sikich. We have an office here in Indianapolis. Sikich is based in the Chicagoland area, our headquarters. We're actually a global firm. We now have offices overseas. We're a CPA firm, but really we're a professional services firm. So technology, accounting, tax, and a multitude of advisory services is what Sikich offers to our clients. So when the CARES Act came about, the pandemic hit, and the government swiftly reacted with some stimulus programs. The employee retention credit was introduced, and simply think about the words employee retention. The idea was for businesses to receive an incentive from the government to retain employees through the period of the pandemic. The retention credit rules, version 1 in the first version of the CARES Act, they were expanded in what was commonly referred to as the second CARES Act. So the expansion of that credit really opened up the opportunity for a lot more business owners, small business owners, to be eligible for the credit. But effectively, the government, through a set of eligibility rules, wanted to give businesses stimulus dollars if they retained their employees. And the rules are somewhat complicated. One of the common beliefs of business owners is that if they apply for the credit and they receive the credit, and then later on it's determined maybe they're not eligible for the credit, they simply pay the money back. That isn't necessarily true. As the IRS is now more vocal about some of the fraud going on with this credit, as a business owner, you could find yourself in a situation where you not only have to pay back the credit, but you may have interest and penalties and fees that you may end up spending a lot more money than the original credit amount that you received. That's one of the things. The second thing to remember is, sometimes in life you can go back to the saying, everything you need to know you sort of learned in kindergarten. And, for business owners, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I think there are a lot of firms out there that have that messaging on the credit specifically that would lead a business owner to believe everyone qualifies, and everyone doesn't qualify. The pandemic was an example of where the rules were changing rapidly. New laws were coming out, and it was difficult to stay on top of them. And frankly, the guidance is new and not as comprehensive as some other tax credits and tax rules that we have to follow. So it's difficult. One of the things I think business owners and your viewers in general need to understand is a lot of firms that are out there promoting the credit and helping their customers with the credit are being paid on a contingent fee basis. 10%, 20%, 30% of the credit, of the refund, is their fee. And so that becomes an inherent conflict. They may be aggressive with the rules, more aggressive than a CPA, who typically doesn't charge a contingent fee, in most cases can't charge a contingent fee. So there's a level of objectivity you're going to get from your CPA that you may not get from the firm that's actually providing the service. There's really two main ways to get the credit. The first way, which is somewhat easier or clearer, right? The rules are much clearer, is based on gross receipts, right? You're a business owner, your gross receipts go down, you look at the IRS rules, if they went down enough, you qualify. The second way, which is where the gray area comes in, and we believe where there's potentially a lot of fraud, is if you meet what's called the partial suspension rules, right? So you have a partial suspension of your business operation due to a government order. Much more complicated rules. And while there's guidance out there, there's broad interpretation of that guidance. So again, I would just suggest to business owners that they need someone independent and objective to look at whether or not they qualify. And the other, major point here is they need the appropriate documentation to support that claim at the time they file it. There's a term, contemporaneous, right? If you take a deduction on your tax return, you really need to have the support for that deduction sort of on a contemporaneous basis, right? So you don't collect it later, you collect the support now, you keep it in a file in the event you're audited. And the criminal investigation that the IRS has initiated, brings forth that firm. We expect a lot of those businesses to be caught up in that investigation. And what I think that being around the IRS and being involved in this profession for a long time, what I think people discount or don't think about is that you spend a lot of time and a lot of resources defending yourself in those situations, and that's a distraction. It's a distraction from what you're best at, which is growing your business. So, carefully consider whether or not it's worth it to try to go and get this credit and get good advice. And, sometimes it's better off when it's a gray area and you're not sure that you have a good case, you're better off just passing on it.
Time for our deep dive on business equity and opportunities, our industry focus. According to a study from Grandview Research, pet daycares were a $1.12 billion industry last year, will grow by $600 million more this year, and cross the $2 billion mark by 2030. One thing pushing the jump, more people got pets during the pandemic, and that's leading to big business at places like Camp Bow Wow.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Angie Hunter is franchise owner of Camp Bow Wow in Central Indiana.
Camp Bow Wow is the leading, most trusted doggy daycare and boarding facility in the United States. It has over 200 locations in 42 states and in Canada. Well, my original career, I was a dentist. I'm still a dentist, actually, and I practiced dentistry for 31 years. Upon retiring from full-time practice, I felt like I had a lot of energy still to give, wanted to invest in something new and exciting in my retirement. And so I looked at the pet care industry, had a long-time love of dogs and caring for people, and it just felt natural to look at the pet care industry to care for dogs. As I was looking at the pet care industry, I thought of my son, who's a former canine police officer. He has done tracking and he had a drug dog, and he loves dogs as well. And so we talked about doing this together. I think during COVID, it seemed that most people bought dogs or got dogs. The dog business was booming during COVID, and now I find that people are home, either working from home, and the dog is bored while they're trying to get work done, or they're needing a place to take those dogs during the day. The industry itself is projected to grow to over $184 billion by the year 2030. And that would be a compounded growth rate of 6.4% a year. So the industry is very healthy. There's a great need. Specifically here in Noblesville, I'm a Noblesville resident, and there are no doggy daycare and boarding facilities within our community. And so I felt like, what a better way to bring a booming industry, my love for dogs and caring for others, and help my hometown. So with our boarding and daycare, we also offer enrichment, which is also a mentally stimulating activity for the dogs. So it helps with boredom busting and destructive behaviors at home that parents are having happen these days. And then adding the grooming also adds to the wellness and health of the dog. We offer some enrichment activities that include snuggle time, play pals, and sniff and seek. So we offer puzzles, games, water activities, and different things like that help stimulate the dog and help their minds. Well, interestingly, just getting ready, the supply chain issues have been an interesting thing getting started with this business. I've had this in the works for about 2.5 years, and I had to be very patient because of supply chain and issues and that. So we had a lot of delays. So it took a lot of patience to get this off the ground, and I'm very happy that we are now. So I think that was a big surprise. I thought that I would get it started, get it rolling, and get open right away, and that didn't happen. When I was looking at this industry, I actually interviewed several franchises. Camp Bow Wow, by and far, they were the top. The reason being the support that I do get from corporate, through training, through my peers. There are over 200 owners nationwide, and we have a little messenger group. If I have a question, I can message them, and within minutes I have answers from people who are seasoned, who have gone before me. So the franchise model was good for me because all the systems were in place. Camp Bow Wow specifically because of their focus on safety and giving dogs truly a camp-like experience. This is not your typical kennel. I see us as being the Cheers of Noblesville. That's how I've described it. I want to be that place where everybody knows your name. I want our dogs in our local community to have a safe, fun, exciting place to be, that they're known and loved. I want to be on the street for us to know our local dogs and be able to consider them family. So if I look ahead, I see us as being an integral part of our community for our pet parents and our four-legged campers as well. I think it's key that we have services for our four-legged friends in our community, especially since their population has boomed in the last few years. You know, there are services for children and there are summer camps for children, and now we have a summer camp, a winter camp, a year-round camp for dogs. And I just think it's important. Well, I love dogs, and to see our camp counselors in our yards playing with the dogs, loving on the dogs, and knowing that the pet parents have the security that they can leave their pet, their beloved family member, with us, and that we're going to care for them as our own. I just think that gives a lot back to the community, and it does warm my heart to be a part of that for our community.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.